ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जी अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so this is the first of the sequence of verses that Queen Kunti chants glorifying Krishna. So the first verse, this is titled the original person. Actually, if you go to the all the chapter names, they are signifying the topic or the core message in each verse. So if you see the original person beyond the senses and so on and so forth. So somebody is interested, they can sit and analyze these and understand what all topics are being discussed. Kunti Vacha Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antar Bahir Avastitam. Srimati Kunti said, "O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, and yet you are invisible to all." So first, Kunti Maharani is saying that you are the original person. Brahma also says in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So you're the original personality. So he's a person, he's the original person, meaning he is the first person. Adyam. So Namasya Purusham tu Adyam. Tu Adyam becomes tu Adyam. Adyam. Adyam means original, first. Ishwaram Prakrite Param. Ishwara, you're the controller. Prakrite Param, you're above all these qualities, Prakriti, these material qualities. Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antarbahir Avastitam. Antarbahir. Antar means inside, Bahir means outside. Avastitam means you're existing. Alaksham means you are invisible. Sarvabhutanam, to all. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, though he was playing the part of her nephew. Such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. So Prabhupada here is saying that Kunti Maharani was very clear about Krishna's position. Otherwise, why will an aunt offer obeisances or glorification to a nephew who is younger to her in age? So she was a very enlightened lady, so she could not commit this mistake by offering obeisances just simply to some nephew of hers. She offered obeisances to Krishna, knowing his supreme position as the original personality of Godhead. Therefore, she addressed him as the original Purusha, Purusham Adyam, beyond the material cosmos, Prakrite Param, Purusham Adyam Prakrite Param. Although all living entities are also transcendental, all living entities are transcendental. Why? Because we are all Atma, part and parcel of Krishna. So we are also transcendental. They are neither original nor infallible. So all other living entities apart from Krishna, they are not original because they all come from Krishna. Krishna is the original person, and they're not infallible. Infallible means falling down. Krishna doesn't fall down from his supreme position. Even if he becomes the charioteer of Arjuna, even if he comes to this material world, he doesn't come in contact with his material modes. Coming in contact with material modes means falling from our original transcendental position, which is we are Atma, we don't belong to this material world. We belong to the spiritual world. That is our transcendental position. But when we, because of our desire to enjoy independent of Krishna, when we come to this material world, we become fallible. We've fallen. But Krishna is not fallen. Krishna doesn't never falls. And Krishna is the original person. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature, but the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara, controller. The living entities are the demigods like Chandra and Surya are also to some extent Ishvara, but none of them is the supreme Ishvara or the ultimate controller. All of us are trying to control, all of us are controllers to some extent. To some extent, very limited extent. But because we don't understand how limited our control, span of control is, in ignorance, we think we are great controllers. Even demigods like Chandra and Surya, they also have very limited control. Just imagine, I mean, Surya, without sun, this material world cannot function. Without Chandra, vegetables cannot be produced. So they are so critical to the functioning of this material world, but still they are not the supreme because they are functioning on the orders of Govinda. So Krishna is the Parameshwara or the super soul. He is both within and without. Within and without meaning he enters each and every atom, and he is also present outside also. In the form of his energy, the whole material universe, spiritual universe, everything is manifesting from his energy. So he is there everywhere. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. He is present within everybody as Paramatma. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart. Matta smritir gnanam apohanam cha. And only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Matta, mati, smriti, gnana, apohanam. So one remembers, forgets, knows, cognizance, etc. Everything is because of super soul. Vedascha sarver ahameva vedyah Vedanta krit veda vid eva chaham. Though through all the Vedas, I am to be known. I am the compiler of the Vedas. I am the teacher of the Vedanta. So Krishna is clearly explaining his position, that he is situated in everyone's heart, and only due to him comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and intelligence. And through all the Vedas, what is the goal of all the Vedas is to know Krishna. Why? Because he is the compiler of the Vedas, he is the teacher of the Vedanta. So finally, after reading all the Vedas, reading any piece of knowledge, one has to understand Krishna. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living entities, is still invisible. So he's there everywhere, but he cannot be seen. Why he cannot be seen? Because we don't have the required vision. Many people challenge. Prabhupada said, show me God. What is the power of your vision? If you go into a room and there are no lights in the room, you cannot even see what is there in the room. How can you see the Supreme Lord? Supreme Lord cannot be seen by any amount of, intelligence, wealth, etc., etc. He will be seen only when he reveals himself. Sevan Mukhehi Jivado Swayam Eva Spuratyada. Swayam Eva. Swayam Eva means he himself. Spurati. Spurati means he will manifest. He will reveal himself. So the Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man, because common man is trying to understand everything through his limited senses, limited intelligence. He cannot understand, he cannot be understood, he cannot be seen, he cannot be heard. So through our limited senses, we cannot perceive Krishna. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all pervasive or localized. Localized meaning whether he is only present within the heart or is he present everywhere. But then she clarifies, no, you're present everywhere. In fact, he's both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. See? Who can see him? Premanjana churita bhakti virochinena. Santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. So those devotees are completely surrendered to Krishna and serving him with love and affection can see him in their hearts, and they can also see him outside also eventually. Why can't he be seen? What is the reason he cannot be seen? There is a checking curtain. This checking curtain, checking means that which prevents. And this checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. It is explained as follows. It controls the limited vision. So we have limited vision. Who are we? We are rebellious souls. We have rebelled against Krishna. We have rebelled against the supreme law, supreme order. We have rebelled. Supreme order is to become servants of Krishna, and we have rebelled against that supreme order. So we are rebellious souls, and for us rebellious souls, Krishna will not reveal himself till we become surrendered. Till then, Maya checks our vision. Maya prevents us from. See, when Krishna was present in Dwapar Yuga in front of everybody, very few people recognize that he is the Supreme Lord. Even Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, nobody was able to accept it because they didn't have piety. Prabhupada says they did not have piety. They were not pious. So from such people, Maya puts a curtain, covers their intelligence, so they cannot understand, they cannot perceive. That is because they are not qualified. So in this verse, nicely, Kunti Maharani is explaining the supreme position of Krishna, right? So if anybody has any questions, you can please ask, because each of these words will be a topic by itself. So you can ask if you are unclear about something. Okay. Verse 2, beyond the senses. Now, what is Krishna's position? So he is within and without, but he is beyond the senses. He cannot be perceived. Beyond the senses. Maya javanika channam agnadokshajam avyayam na lakshase moodadrisha nato natyadharo yatha. Beautiful verse. Maya javanika channam. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception. You are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. I'll explain. You're invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Okay. So Maya is the deluding energy. Is the illusory energy, deluding energy, right? So Maya has a Javanika Channam. Javanika Channam means like a curtain which covers. So you are Agnana Adhokshajam. Agna Adhokshajam. So you cannot be perceived. So eternally irreproachable means you cannot be approached. You cannot be perceived. You are beyond the range of limited sense perception. And you are Abhyaya, you are eternal. You are eternally present. Irreproachable. Faultless, beyond criticism. Irreproachable, beyond criticism. Eternally, you are beyond criticism. Meaning you cannot be limited. People say that Krishna is limited. Krishna is born like an ordinary person, etc., etc. No, you're impeccable. You're perfect. You're beyond all these material inebrities, material limitations, etc. But you are covered. You are covered. Though you are the eternal factor, you are eternally present in all places, all times, all circumstances. But you are covered by the curtain of your Maya energy, and you remain beyond the range of limited sense perception. He is not beyond the range of sense perception. He is beyond the range of limited sense perception. That means when we qualify ourselves, then he will become visible to us. So till then, you are invisible to the foolish observer. Moodha, foolish. Moodha drisha means to the sight. Na lakshase. Right, so you're not visible, you're invisible to the foolish observer. Nato natya dharo yatha. Nata, actor. Natya dharo, when he is playing the role, when he's dressed nah, as a player, he's playing some role. He's wearing a different dress. Oh, somebody cannot make out. Oh, who is this person? So like that, though you are present in front, a foolish observer cannot make out that you are the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna affirms that less intelligent persons mistake him to be an ordinary man like us, and thus they deride him. Less intelligent persons mistake him to be an ordinary person, and they deride him. Deride him means ridicule, mock, express contempt. And so they mock at him, saying they'll say that, oh, you're an ordinary person. Like Ishupala was criticizing Krishna, that you're not even you're neither a Kshatriya nor a Vaishya, like that. So they mock at him, mock at Krishna because they think that he's an ordinary person. The same is confirmed here, that less intelligent, foolish people cannot understand Krishna. And who are these less intelligent people? Not people with less intelligence from a material perspective. They might be big intelligent people from a material perspective, big scientists, big scholars, etc. But who are those less intelligent persons? Are those who rebel against the authority of the Lord. Such persons are known as asuras. Asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. See, when we hear this word asura, we think that somebody who is like, who has some horns and who's ugly looking. No. Maya aparata gnana. Krishna says, Namam dushkrutino mooda prapadyante naradamaha Maya aparata gnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. Maya aparata gnana. Especially in Kali Yuga, there are people who pose themselves as big learned people. They could be scientists, they could be scholars, they could be poets. Sometimes even so-called transcendentalists. They mislead people. They say that I am God, worship me. They're asuras because they're against the authority of the Lord. What is the authority of the Lord? Authority of the Lord is that He is the Supreme Lord. He is to be worshipped. We are all His servants. So they rebel. They question authority of the Lord. They say, oh, no, this material world has just come into existence by chance, by itself. Some big bang happened. There's no intelligence. There's no supreme controller. So they can't recognize the Lord's authority. How is sun, every day there's sunrise at exactly the same time, sunset exactly at the same time. How is all this happening without any authority? It's a very simple thing to understand, right? If there are five people in a company and if there is nobody to oversee, they'll just not do their work. Simple. Right? Now this whole complex material world, if it has to function, what if there is no controller, supreme controller? So the asuras say, no, there isn't anything like that. It's all by chance. It's just nature. Nature is supreme. So they're rebelling against Lord's authority. They don't want to accept Lord's authority. When the Lord Himself appears among us as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, or in His original form as Krishna, He performs many wonderful acts which are humanly impossible. So we've seen all of these avatars, Krishna, what he did when he personally appeared, they are wonderful acts. They cannot be done by any humans. Still, they do not accept Him. How less intelligent they are. And they say this is all imagination. No, it's all Purana means itihasa. Purana means old. As we shall find in the 10th canto of this great literature, Lord Sri Krishna exhibited his humanly impossible activities. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada is saying in the 10th canto, we'll see how Krishna exhibited his humanly impossible activities even from the days of his lying on the lap of his mother. He killed the Putana witch, although she smeared her breast with poison just to kill the Lord. So he was just lying, he was like a small baby. The Lord sucked her breast like a natural baby and he sucked out her very life also. Similarly, he lifted the Govardhana hill just as a boy picks up a frog's umbrella and stood several days continuously just to give protection to the residents of Vrindavana. These are some of the superhuman activities of the Lord described in the authoritative Vedic literatures like the Puranas, Itihasas. Itihasa means history, not mythology. Mythology is a wrong word. Mahabharata is not mythology. Ramayana is not mythology. It is itihasa, history. History means something which had happened in the past. And Upanishads, which are part of the Vedas. This also Puranas, Itihasa is also considered as the Panchama Veda, fifth Veda. He has delivered wonderful instructions in the shape of Bhagavad Gita. He has shown marvelous capacities as a hero, as a householder, as a teacher, as a renouncer. Krishna's qualities are just beyond our imagination, beyond our ability to glorify. He is accepted as the Supreme Person of Godhead by such authoritative personalities as Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Narada, Madhva, Shankara, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and all other authorities of the line. So Parampara Acharyas in the different Paramparas, they've all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Person of Godhead. He himself has declared as much as such in many places of authentic literatures. And yet there's a class of men with demoniac mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as the supreme absolute truth. This is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge. Poor fund of knowledge meaning very low class knowledge, very meager knowledge. And partially due to their stubborn obstinacy. See, look at this. Strong words. Stubborn, obstinate, both mean stubborn, but just to highlight, they're so stubborn that they just want to stick to whatever their misconceptions are, whatever their thoughts are, but they don't want to accept any authority. They don't want to accept any scripture. Most people in this material world today say, who is my guru? I am self-made guru. They don't believe in any guru. They don't believe in knowledge coming down through parampara. They just think that their intelligence is so, developed that they can understand everything. People cannot even understand how our bodies were functioning. Doctors, medical practitioners, they're all generally, to whatever extent they're aware, to that extent, they can analyze the problems in the human body. Stubborn obstinacy. And why they have developed this stubborn obstinacy? Because of various misdeeds they've done in the past and present. So that is why only people who are, Sukrutina, who done good deeds, pious deeds in the past and present, they will come to Krishna. The Dushkruti, they've done misdeeds, they will not accept Krishna. They will not surrender to Krishna. Such persons could not recognize Lord Krishna even when he was present before them. Another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot realize him as the Supreme Lord. Such persons are like the modern scientists. They say everything has to be seen and experienced. Yeah, did you see and experience Big Bang? Did you see and experience how this world was created? No. But still you want to accept it. But everything else you want to see and believe. They want to know everything by their experimental knowledge, but it is not possible to know the Supreme Person by imperfect experimental knowledge. It's described here as adhokshaja. Adhokshaja means beyond the range of experimental knowledge. Beyond the range of our senses. All our senses are imperfect. We claim to observe everything and anything, but we must admit that we can observe things under certain material conditions only, which are also beyond our control. So what does this mean? I can see only if there is light. But light is also not in my control. Light is also in the control of the Supreme Lord. So we should understand our senses are really imperfect. The Lord is beyond the observation of sense perception. Queen Kunti accepts this deficiency of the conditioned soul, especially the women class who are less intelligent. See, this again we have discussed multiple times. This less intelligence is always referred to those general people in this material world who take on the bodies of women, which means because somebody who's taken up a body of a male today, in the last life could have been a female. Somebody who taken a life of body of a male last female last life could have taken body of male, whatever, right? So this women class doesn't mean that people who currently have a woman body think like, oh, we are being pushed to a corner. No, that body is deficient. That body has limitations. That body is emotional. That body is attached material. But even Prabhupada has said multiple times, those even if whether they're in male body or female body, they come to Krishna, they're glorious. There are so many people in male body, but they don't come to Krishna. Doesn't mean that their life is glorious, right? So we shouldn't get stuck with these kind of statements. We have to understand the reality behind, right? So there is this material nature. There are rules. There's a certain design of this material world, and in that design, the male body is supposed to provide for better facilities for self-realization than the female body. But having said that, if somebody who is in a female body has come to Krishna, then they are glorious. They're more glorious than anybody else who might have just got a male body, but they're wasting in just sense gratification. For the less intelligent, there must be such things as temples, mosques, or churches, so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the Lord and hear about him from authorities in such holy places. This is the whole idea of these holy places. So temples, mosques, churches, the idea is that people should hear from authorities in these places. For the less intelligent, this beginning of spiritual life is essential, and only foolish men decry the establishment of such places of worship. Many people say it is idol worship. They're foolish because these places of worship are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes for the mass of people. For the less intelligent persons, bowing down before the authority of the Lord, as generally done in temples, mosques, or churches, is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon him by active service. The advanced devotees, they don't have to come to the temple. They are happy engaging in active service, and they know that that service is non different from the Lord. But for less intelligent who can't understand these things, they'll come to the temple, they'll bow in front of the Lord, they will offer some dakshina, they will take some prasadam, and all these are very good for them to make progress on the spiritual path. So, though Krishna is cannot be seen, he makes himself available in the Archa Vigraha as the deity form in the temple, so that people can come and render service to him. Otherwise, he is just irreproachable. He cannot be. He's perfect. He cannot be approached. He cannot be perceived by our limited senses. So, like foolish observer, so he's seeing somebody, he knows this person, but now because that actor is dressed in certain way, he cannot make out who it is. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He comes down here as one among us, and foolish people cannot recognize him. So we should always understand that we should not just trust our senses, our intelligence. There are so many things that are beyond our intelligence. We go to colleges, schools, colleges, and we read, study by heart, believe firmly whatever they are saying in school, colleges. Have you ever gone and tried and experimented to make sure that they're actually telling the truth? I remember when I was in school, they taught us that Pluto was a planet. Now they're saying Pluto is not a planet. This is their temporary knowledge. It keeps changing. But knowledge in Vedas, knowledge in Ityasa, Puranas, scriptures, it doesn't change. It's always fixed. It's always faultless. Those things we are ready to accept, but this we will not accept. Those things we are accepting even without any kind of experience, nothing. We'll just say, okay, somebody's saying somebody's written a textbook, so I'll agree. But when big, greater, more intelligent people like Rishis, Munis have given us our scriptures, who are, incomparably more intelligent, more accomplished than our current people who are writing our school, college syllabus, etc. We don't want to believe what they're giving in the Shastra, but we are ready to believe, these limited intelligence of limited beings. So foolish. It's so foolish. And then we should understand Krishna's supreme position. He's not so cheap that he becomes visible to everybody. You cannot go and meet Narendra Modi. Narendra Modi, come in front of me. No, not possible. Only a foolish person will think, oh, I am so great. Narendra Modi will come in front of me. Yeah, when we do something for the country, when Narendra Modi is pleased, he might give us the opportunity to meet him. So similarly, when we qualify ourselves, when we please Krishna by our, by our acts, by our consciousness, etc., then Krishna will make himself visible to us. But we have to qualify ourselves for that. Without qualification, And we cannot enter. Without having passed 10th standard, I cannot enter 11th. Without having passed with suitable marks 12th standard, I can't enter engineering, etc. So how can we just think that we are qualified to see God, to see Krishna? Foolishness. So Prabhupada, through sharp intelligence, sharp logic, is explaining, how people are so fallen, so lost today that they think they're qualified enough for all this. But there is a process to qualify ourselves. The process is the process of Bhakti Yoga. When we associate with devotees, when we read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, when we chant Krishna's holy name by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and when we honor Prasadam every day, we start developing the qualification required. It's like I go to school every day, I'm studying, and then that is building the qualification for me to go to the next standard. So like that, when we are at home and when we are doing all these activities, we are qualifying ourselves to one day see Krishna. That is the whole process of Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, you can kindly ask. Any questions, anybody? Some of you are new, I can see. So if you have basic questions also, you can please ask. Don't mind, because the important thing is to be able to understand. And like I said, we are going to start Bhagavad Gita classes. It's going to be a 6-session course starting this Sunday. It will going to happen in our Holy Mau Center. We're going to try to understand the basics of Bhagavad Gita in six sessions, so that everybody will get a feel of what is there in Bhagavad Gita, why it is important for us to study, etc. And all this knowledge which is there in Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures all builds on top of the knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is the ABCD knowledge building block. So we will get to that, right? But since you're anyway attending, I'm very happy. But if you think that you're not able to understand something or you want some clarification somewhere, please feel free. Okay.
Pranam Prabhuji. I have this question related to this phrase, like eternally irreproachable.
Yeah.
It is not in the case of pure devotees, na? Like Lord is approachable for them. This is like
no, irreproachable means not. Irreproachable means perfect. Not irreproachable doesn't mean not approachable types. It just sounds like that.
Okay. Yes,
irreproachable means perfect, impeccable, perfect. So Kunti Maharani is glorifying Krishna as your eternally perfect factor. I mean, you don't change and you're just perfect. There's no limitation in you. There's no nuance. There is no limitations or negativities or anything, right? Like, you're perfect.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. If there's nothing else, then we'll end here. Krishna willing, we'll continue tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, Naya Prabhu, you have anything to say?
Nothing. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Hare Krishna. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द की जय, जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण।